Hey up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and I'm on back, whatever, on Wednesday, live. I'm live with my midweek news roundup. This used to be my Rumble Wednesday, but I've decided not to bother with Rumble Wednesday anymore. So I'm just going to do a live stream on YouTube, and I'll upload it to Rumble tomorrow. Rumble, your exclusives, we'll stick with YouTube. Right, so before we get into the news, let's have an intro. Right, I'm back. I forgot to do me applause. I remember to switch it on. My little soundboard. My little soundboard that I got for free. I got for free from Amazon. Thank you, Amazon. Don't charge me for it now. Right. So the news. Not that much news, to be honest. I had to do a bit of scouring, and it's not actually all that interesting, apart from the first one. But, you know, it's all Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I said this in a video yesterday. It's all Star Wars Jedi Survivor at the moment. I'm still playing Fallen Order. Restarted playing that yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. Put it on my PS5. I've got it for the PS4. Originally started playing it on that, but I've got a PS5 now. So installed it on that. Migrated my saves over onto my PS5. Didn't like them, did they? Just crashed the game instantly when I tried loading the saves. Unbelievable. So I had to start again. Anyway, I'm enjoying it so far. Not very far into it. But speaking of Star Wars, that's what the first story is about. There it is. No, I can't read that, can you, man? And it says, Carrie Fisher to be honoured with a posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in celebration of Star Wars Day. Now, I did this a week ago, whenever it was. I think it was on my Rumble Wednesday last week, I think it was. And I covered this last week, and I thought, well, it's tomorrow, so I thought I'll remind you all of it. So there we go. There she is, Carrie Fisher. There she is. A very sad loss. So it's giving you the details here. This is from the official Hollywood Walk of Fame website, and that's where they'll be covering it from if you want to watch it live. The honorees, Carrie Fisher, the MCs, iHeartMedia personality, and Walk of Famer Ellen Kay, whoever that is, but she's a Walk of Famer. Guest speakers to be arranged, Billy Lord, who will be accepting the star on behalf of her mother, and the dedication of the 2,754th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm surprised she hasn't had one already, to be honest. But I bet she said when she were alive, I'm not paying $55,000 for a bloody Walk of Fame star. I bet that's what happened. Anyway, it's tomorrow, Thursday, May the 4th at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Which will be, I don't know, something like 7:30 p.m. UK time, 8:30 p.m. European time. Don't ask me Australia, I don't know. And it's at 6840 Hollywood Boulevard near the El Capitan Theatre. And the event will be streamed live exclusively at walkoffame.com. As usual, links are in the description down below. And while we're at it, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already, and all that stuff, But anyway, it says here, actress Carrie Fisher will be honoured posthumously by the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce on May the 4th, 2023, with the 2,754th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the category of motion pictures. Fisher's star will be unveiled near the historic El Capitan Theatre on 6840 Hollywood Boulevard. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce has proudly hosted the globally iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame for millions of people around the world since 1960. Fans will be over the moon to know that their favourite movie princess, Carrie Fisher, will be honoured with her star on the iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame. Carrie will join her Star Wars co-stars and fellow Walk of Famers Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford on this historic sidewalk, stated Anna Martinez, producer of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm happy to add that her star is just a few feet away from the star of Mark Hamill and across the street from the star of her legendary mother, Debbie Reynolds, added Martinez. Actress, writer and daughter of Debbie Reynolds. To be honest, I think Carrie had preferred to be on the same side of the street as her mother, but never mind. Actress, writer and daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher made her film debut in Shampoo. I think she had one line, and it was the F word. And went on to become a cultural icon, playing Princess Leia, yes, Leia, in the original Star Wars trilogy. Since then, she graced the film screen in such hits as When Harry Met Sally, Anna and Her Sisters. Or is it Anna? You know, do you drop the H, or is it Hannah and Her Sisters? I don't know. It's like the word hour, you know, as in clocks. You know, it took an hour. You drop the H, don't you, for some reason, when you say hour. You don't say hour. A hour later. Isn't H a weird letter? Anyway, and the Blues Brothers, to name a few. Her television credits include Laverne and Shirley, Sex and the City, and 30 Rock, for which she received an Emmy nomination. Registered trademark. America. Fisher's best-selling novel Postcards from the Edge netted her the Los Angeles Pen Award for Best First Novel. Fisher penned the Postcards screenplay for the Oscar-nominated film starring Shirley MacLaine and Meryl Streep. 3 novels and 2 memoirs have followed: The Delusions of Grandma, Surrender the Pink, The Best Awful, Wishful Drinking, and Shockaholic. Fisher performed her one-woman stage version of Wishful Drinking on Broadway, which went on to be filmed for HBO and nominated for an Emmy Award. So there we go. So if you want to watch it, if you want to watch the unveiling of Carrie Fisher's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, go to walkoffame.com. As I said, links in the description. At 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. UK time. I think it is. Check. Don't take my word for it. Check. Google what is 11:30 a.m. Pacific time in UK time, and it'll tell you. I'll do it now, shall I? I'll do it now, just to double check, because we're live. What the heck? We're live. What the heck? Right. Here we go. I could just ask Alexa, couldn't I? I will. Alexa, what is 11:30 a.m. Pacific time in UK time?
From GammaRevolution.com. That's at 10:30 a.m. BST.
No, it ain't. Not lying. 10:30 a.m. BST. You're not an hour behind. Stupid bloody Alexa. She might have thought I said 7 there. 11:30 a.m. PST to UK time. Yes, it's 7:30 p.m. here, 19:30. Right, I was right. Alexa was wrong. She probably misheard me and my stupid Yorkshire accent. Yes, never mind. She's beeping at me now. Anyway. So that's that. So if you want to watch it, as I said, on walkoffame.com. Right, next up, sticking with Star Wars, sort of. That AI-generated Wes Anderson Star Wars trailer may have gone viral, but it sucked. Flat out sucks. There we go. I covered this in a video the other day. It's quite amusing. Don't take it seriously. It's not real. I don't know why people are getting angry about it. Maybe because it's AI. But anyway, you saw it, right? I know you did. It was all over. This is from Slash Film, by the way. Sorry, as I call it, Italic Eye Film. I'm stupid. It was all over Twitter, spreading like a sick, sad wildfire through every blue check account, and those without Twitter Blue who felt the need to give their opinion too. It's hard not to have something to say about that AI-generated Wes Anderson-style Star Wars trailer. Star Wars. But here's the only real thing to say about it. It totally sucks, and I'll tell you why. By the way, it says Lex Briscuso. Is that a bloke or a woman? Don't know. Could be either. Could be, Alex, whatever is an either-or name, isn't it? Could be Alexander or Alexandra or something else. Lexicon. Anyway. Look, I'll give you the video an ounce of credit. Yeah, it's able to replicate the basic visual aesthetic of a Wes Anderson film. It includes the things most considered important to distinguish his films from that of other auteurs: bold pastel colouring, the composition and framing of the shots, and even the pointed stares of the actors in frame. By the way, I've worked it out. I've never seen a Wes Anderson film. Never got round to it. So there you go. All those big films he's done, haven't seen one of them. So I can't comment on what his films are like because I've never seen one. So I don't even know if I like him. He could be the greatest filmmaker in history for all I know. But I don't because I've never seen one of his films. Each element is crucial in building a recognisable Wes Anderson movie, but they certainly aren't the only elements needed to bring the filmmaker's vision to life, or visions. In fact, to claim that aesthetics are all a film needs is disingenuous, small-minded thinking, which, if I'm being honest, seems to be at the heart of nearly all Hollywood meets AI discussions. I think this is like it's less about Wes Anderson and more about AI in it. But anyway, here's what I love about Wes Anderson films. Is it Wes or Wes? I don't know. They're sharp, they're witty, they're emotionally resonant and touching, always coming from a place of true heart and tenderness, and they're highly stylised, yes, but uniquely human all the same. There are so many memorable moments throughout his filmography that illustrates these points, like the poignant ending scene between Ben Stiller and Gene Hackman in The Royal Tenenbaums, or the moment where the three brothers attend an Indian funeral while simultaneously, I said it in American style, didn't I? Simultaneously reliving their father's funeral in the Darjeeling Limited. That's the thing about his movies. They may be lovely to look at, but the emotional core of his work is the foundation that keeps that beauty alive. Which, of course, brings me to my next point, the fact that AI and emotionality don't exactly mix. The Star Wars video hits some key visual marks, but it has approximately zero soul. This is what I said in my video the other day. Even the way the computer-generated characters stare out into the eyes of the viewer is unsettling, and they do that little cock of the head for some reason. I don't know why. Practically uncanny valley levels of an unending void. These AI projects simply cannot replicate the soul and humanity of the films, or any films for that matter. It simply isn't equipped for that, because the kinds of folks who create, engage with and champion AI programming become intertwined with art tend to be those who don't have what it takes to succeed in creative pursuits. It's a vehicle for entrapment, a poisoned apple waiting for Snow White. You're going to be overboard here, Lex. Anyway, let's carry on. I hope it's not a long article, this. No, it ain't. Okay. I saw that my little slider bar there and I thought, bloody hell. Plus, AI is nowhere near capable enough to capture the breadth of the performances Anderson is able to pull, craft and mould from his multitudes of seasoned, skilled actors. In one of his films, the emotionality runs the gamut, from elation to despair to wild abandon, and these actors are able to do all of this while also adhering to stylistic directorial choices in their speech and physicality. God, it's a slog, is this article. We should not pick the bugger. And you're taking it a bit too seriously, Lex. And to be fair, the same thing applies to Star Wars films. The emotional life there is that of any strong hero's journey and stays with the audience throughout the picture. But with an Anderson project, the actors aren't just crafting the characters themselves, they do so in true collaboration with the filmmaker in an effort to maintain an overarching aesthetic throughout his works. AI doesn't have the wherewithal to even give a little emotional output, let alone the amount required to both find your character's motivations and take on a sort of mould your character must also fit into. It's supposed to be very intelligent, but intelligence alone can't tap into what makes us human. At the end of the day, no matter if a film was made by Anderson or George Lucas, it was created, nurtured and birthed from a human perspective, and that is crucial in creating art. As I said, I think you're taking this a little bit too seriously. With the Writers Guild of America being forced to begin their strike on May the 2nd, being forced... AI poses a real threat to the security and safety of writers in Hollywood. I think you're overreacting. Honestly, I think you are. But this extends to many facets of the industry, including directors, actors, editors, and effects specialists. I think if they're scared of AI taking over Hollywood, and producers saying, "We'll just have AI write the script," I think you, as I said, you're overreacting because I don't think audiences would accept an AI written script because I think they'd see through it. Basically, I honestly do. I think an AI script, the first one that maybe the first film that's written with an AI script might be mildly successful because people would go to see it, out of curiosity. But I don't think it'd be a very good film, to be honest. And I think the audience would realise that, and future ones that came along, the second one or whatever, wouldn't be as successful because people aren't stupid. I mean, people are stupid as groups, but individually they're not stupid. Anyway, the Star Wars trailer makes that much Star Wars. Makes that much viciously clear, but what it doesn't account for is its inability to understand the pure core of art itself. Aesthetics can rarely be sustained without a thesis statement behind them. And let's be honest here, AI isn't exactly killing it on the visuals yet either. In many viral Hollywood is over Twitter threads containing AI-generated creations, the fingers are still warped, usually lacking at least one. The faces are still inhuman and creepy if you stare too long. Distorted and misshaped excuses for humans expressing laughter, sorrow, even contentment. Even the straight, expressionless faces of the Star Wars trailer feel wrong when you look at them for more than a beat. There are so many things AI-generated projects get wrong, and sure, you can manipulate a program to emulate a programmable aesthetic. And Anderson's is surely formulaic enough to be programmable, but being able to essentially morph into a wolf in sheep's clothing doesn't hide the fact that AI-generated filmmaking has no heart, no emotional core, no soul. This is the consistent fact permeating every attempt thus far to make cinematic AI content. Not just the Star Wars trailer, and it will continue for as long as we try to force AI to figure out how to be like us. The simple fact is that it can't. It is what it says it is, artificial, and films made by human beings don't feel artificial. They feel whole and true and alive. I think you got to be carried away there, Lex Briscuso. Yes, I think, AI could be a danger, but I don't think it will be. I don't think the audience would let it. I think AI-generated films and TV or whatever wouldn't be successful in the long run. I don't think they would. So I think you're overreacting. Right, let's move on, for God's sake. Sticking with Star Wars still. A special short from The Simpsons to be released to mark Star Wars Day on May the 4th, which is tomorrow. Maggie Simpson in Rogue Not Quite One. So is this like The Simpsons basically doing a Family Guy? The Family Guy Star Wars shorts were really funny, weren't they? Will The Simpsons one be as funny? I don't know. Anyway, a special shot, and there's the poster with Maggie Simpson in presumably a Grogu-style ball being chased by Darth Vader's TIE Fighter and various others. A special short from The Simpsons will be released on Disney Plus in celebration of Star Wars Day on May the 4th. Maggie Simpson in Rogue Not Quite One will see a coming together of two of the biggest Disney-owned franchises to mark the occasion. No, I've not seen The Simpsons for ages. Is it still good? I don't know. Star Wars Day takes place annually on May the 4th, although I think proper Star Wars Day is May 25th, isn't it? And the connoisseurs call May 25th Star Wars Day. Because that's when it was initially released in 1977. Anyway, in a nod to the film's famous phrase, "May the Force be with you," the upcoming special will see Homer Simpson lose track of Maggie, who jumps into Baby Yoda's hovering pram and heads off on a hyperspace hopping adventure across the galaxy. Maggie will bring an explosive space battle to Springfield in the short, which celebrates all things Star Wars. And there's a tweet from Disney+. Maggie Simpson in Rogue Not Quite One is the latest in the collection of Simpson shorts created exclusively for Disney Plus that mark various special events. Previously released titles include The Simpsons Meet the Bocellis in Feliz Navidad. Okay. Welcome to the club, The Good, the Bad and the Loki, and The Simpsons in Plusiversary. I've not seen any of these. Two of the specials, when Billy met Lisa and Maggie Simpson in The Force Awakens from its nap, have been nominated for Emmy Awards. See, I've not seen them either. The Simpsons is the longest-running primetime scripted television series in history. Currently airing its 32nd season, the show has won 35 Emmy Awards, 7 People's Choice Awards, and 13 Writers Guild of America Awards. And it's on tomorrow, which we've just said. There you go. So if you want to watch that tomorrow, watch it tomorrow on Disney Plus, obviously. Right, moving on. Right, here we go. It's a giant freaking robot. This is less news than a opinion. Star Trek's most powerful movie villain showed up earlier than you knew, possibly. We present a theory that the villain of the very first episode of Star Trek the Animated Series is connected to the powerful villain who appears at the end of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. And there he is. Is this face more of what you expected? Or whatever he says, something like that. I have many faces when they go to the centre of the galaxy, which is a bit stupid, but never mind. As a Star Trek fan, one of the most glaring unchecked spots on my to-do list has been to finally watch the only TV series in the franchise I have yet to see every episode of, the short-lived Star Trek the Animated Series. It's amazing. After watching the premiere episode, Beyond the Farthest Star, I say amazing. For a cartoon, it's amazing. Some bits of it are a bit annoying. The fact that most of the characters are either James Doohan or Nichelle Nichols, with a bit of George Takei. Obviously, you've got Shatner and Nimoy and Kelly doing the main characters, but everybody else seems to be voiced by James Doohan and Nichelle Nichols. And Nichelle Nichols takes every opportunity to go. She does. Anyway, Beyond the Farthest Star on Paramount Plus, I became convinced that the nameless, formless entity we meet in the episode is either an early version of 1989 Star Trek V The Final Frontier's chief villain, or he's a member of the godlike entity's species. In Beyond the Farthest Star, the Enterprise discovers an ancient ship that has been in orbit of the same dead star for 300 million years. Through their investigation of the ship, they learn that the vessel's long-dead masters purposely sacrificed themselves in order to keep a powerful, unnamed magnetic entity imprisoned. This same Star Trek villain manages to reach the Enterprise and take over the ship's systems. And there's a screenshot showing the Enterprise and the alien ship that they found, which is unlike anything we've ever seen before, Captain. Once the very first Star Trek the Animated Series villain takes over the Enterprise, it's the alien's intended destination that reveals he may be related to the Star Trek V antagonist. When the coordinates of the entity's destination are revealed, Sulu, George Takei, calls out, "That's the heart of the galaxy, Captain. Oh my." If you've seen Star Trek V, then you know that how this might connect to that film's villain. In the film, Spock's, Leonard Nimoy's, estranged brother Cybok, Lawrence Luckinbill, half-brother, believes he's been psychically communicating with God. The Vulcan hatches a plan to commandeer the Enterprise so he can make his pilgrimage to God in the very centre of the galaxy, which is a bit dopey. It took 40 years to get to the centre of the galaxy. But it also doesn't explain why in the original series they got to the edge of the galaxy, which again they take decades to get to, wouldn't it? At maximum warp. Anyway, and there's a shot from Star Trek V. There's Cybok, there's Spock, there's him. There's got a field of holes and various other aliens. On Nimbus 3, the planet of galactic peace. There's more that could connect these Star Trek villains. We eventually learn, of course, that the Zeus-like entity living in the centre of the galaxy is not God and has manipulated Cybok in order to bring him a starship that could allow him to journey beyond the galaxy's centre. What does God need with a starship? And this is very close to the mission of Star Trek the Animated Series' first villain. Capable of taking control of people and machines, it wants the Enterprise in order to get it away from the dead star where it's been imprisoned for hundreds of millennia. After the heroes manage to force it off the ship, they hear it moaning in agony. "Don't leave me alone, please, please, so lonely." I wonder who did the voice. I can't remember. That's a while since I've watched it. It'll be one of the main cast. Two incredibly powerful Star Trek villains of unnamed species, both imprisoned, both wanting to commandeer a starship, and both unfathomably ancient. Most importantly, the villain of Beyond the Farthest Star intends to head for the centre of the galaxy, while the one in the final frontier is already there. Maybe it's mate or, whatever. Coincidence? The result of one Star Trek writer unconsciously borrowing from a previous one? Obviously, I'm not suggesting the Star Trek the Animated Series writer was thinking, with this, I plant the seeds of a film so bad they'll let William Shatner direct it. It's not that bad. I like Star Trek 5. But like the man said, there are always possibilities. If a future Star Trek writer wants to connect these two villains, the bones are there. Bones, do you get it? See what they did there? So there you go. That's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought of it myself because it's a while since I've watched the animated series, but it is worth a look, and it's fun, and it's got a great theme. I think the theme for the animated series is up there with, the theme for the original series. It's cool. But yeah, why not? Why not indeed? I'd say it's one of the same species and is going to try and rescue the one that's there already. That's my headcanon from now on. Right, let's move on. I said we haven't got much to do this week, but anyway. Here we go. The Mandalorian Season 4 scripts have been written, thankfully. They haven't been written. But was the show renewed? The Mandalorian has wrapped up on Season 3, and many fans of the show are already wondering when they might get to see Season 4. By Catherine Stinson. Where are we? Distractify.com. I'll have to move that over a tad, won't I? There we go. Although fans of The Mandalorian had a wide array of mixed reactions following the Season 3 finale, it wasn't that good, was it? It was action-packed and stuff, but, it wasn't great, was it? The Star Wars show remains as popular as ever, with viewers eager to know when the show will return for a fourth season. Apparently the Season 3 viewing figures are not that good, but we will see. In the fullness of time, with Lucasfilm and Disney biding their sweet time, making an official announcement regarding The Mandalorian Season 4, Distractify sat down with Simon Cassianides, the man behind the proud Mandalorian Axe Woves. So, does he have any intel regarding the show's fourth season? Would he be game to don his Mandalorian mask once more? Here's what he revealed to Distractify. By the way, when I said the script hadn't been written, maybe they have, I don't know. But if Jon Favreau's anything to do with it, it's not a script; it's notes on what they call them, sticky notes. That he faxes over to Lucasfilm. I've had some ideas. Get somebody to write a script and just have them say this is the way a lot. Anyway, will The Mandalorian return for Season 4? Although Simon wasn't sure when The Mandalorian Season 4 was set to start filming, he reiterated that series creator Jon Favreau had already completed the scripts for The Mandalorian Season 4. Yeah, and he's just completed his notes for the script. The actor didn't hesitate for a second when asked by Distractify if he'd be game to reprise his role as Axe for a fourth season. Oh, absolutely. My number hasn't changed. My email works. Feel free to call me, text me, email me. I'm around, happy to work. Of course, he's the biggest thing he's ever done. Simon added that he kept his work schedule as open as possible to film his scenes for The Mandalorian Season 3. Kept his work schedule. I mean, he didn't have any other work. Because working on the show and the fans' positive reaction to his character Axe was a dream come true. Although The Mandalorian Season 4, and when his work schedule also obviously includes convention appearances. Although The Mandalorian Season 4 still has yet to be confirmed at the time of writing this article, John made it clear during an interview with BFM TV via Variety that the scripts for the yet-to-be-made season have already been completed during post-production on the show's third season in an afternoon. Echoing what Simon told Distractify. Plot details about The Mandalorian Season 4 have been kept so tightly under wraps that even Simon didn't know if Axe would appear again. During the BFM TV interview, John emphasised the vital importance of making future episodes of The Mandalorian fit neatly in the wider overarching Star Wars narrative. His colleague, Mandalorian producer Dave Filoni will be directing a Mandalorian movie after all. Simon, who also happens to be an accomplished screenwriter, I better mention that, still looking for work, told Distractify that he would literally have an out-of-body experience if he were asked to pen a script for a future Mandalorian episode. I'm sure he would. And maybe he will. But he probably won't get a credit for it. Okay, what Star Wars, if you know what I mean. Okay, what Star Wars project is next while we wait for the Mandalorian Season 4? And then it goes on about Ahsoka and let's carry on. Step aside, Din. It's Ahsoka Tano's Rosario Dawson's time to shine in the spotlight. Of course it is, because Jon Favreau's being just nudged to the side and Dave Filoni's bursting in with his cowboy hat on, saying, "It's me." While we await more news on an official green light for The Mandalorian Season 4, Ahsoka will drop on Disney Plus in August 2023. Simon recounted how Dave was surprised when Rosario came to visit Simon during his last day on The Mandalorian set. "How do you guys know each other?" he recounted, Dave asking. Though Rosario and Simon have been friends for years, the actor understandably couldn't reveal if Axe would appear in Ahsoka. So how did they know each other? Why aren't you telling us? As Distractify and Simon chatted about story possibilities, he loved our idea about Axe teaching Grogu the more modern Mandalorian ways. I'm sure he did. News of The Mandalorian Season 4 still remains unconfirmed. I know you've told us this. But one thing's for certain, Simon's appreciation for Star Wars fans. Meeting the fans, conventions you see, they are unlike any other fans you'll ever meet. He recounted fondly from his experience at Star Wars Celebration 2023. They're so kind and invested and just excited. Oh, that's it, right. That's it. So that was a nothing burger, wasn't it? But it says the scripts are written, but we already knew that. But they're not written. There's notes for the scripts and probably a quick synopsis for each episode. He's written the episode titles and then a quick, this is what's going to happen. I've done it myself. Not that I've had any TV series made, but I did like a script treatment, whatever, for a series, a Space 1999 reboot, and I did like 10 episodes with titles and quick synopses for each episode. And I bet that's all he's done. And somebody else will actually do all the dialogue and all that. Right, let's move on. Karen Gillan responds to speculation she will return to Doctor Who. Karen is currently embarking on the press tour for the final instalment of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, where she plays Nebula and addressed the Doctor Who speculation. And there she is, the gorgeous Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan she needs to eat a few pies. Get a bit of meat on your bones, lass. You're Scottish, for crying out loud. Karen Gillan has responded to fan speculation that she could return to Doctor Who. The Scots actress, this is from the Daily Record, by the way, a Scottish newspaper. The Scots actress, 35, played Amy Pond in the BBC sci-fi drama alongside Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor and Arthur Darvill, who played her on-screen husband Rory. Inverness-born Karen left the series in 2012 but returned for the 2013 Christmas special, which coincided with Matt's departure from the role. Karen is currently embarking on the press tour for the final instalment of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, where she plays Nebula and addressed the Doctor Who speculation. The Jumanji actress has been linked as a recurring character for the series' as upcoming 60th anniversary special later this year. They said recurring, I meant returning. I'll learn to read. Speaking to Radio Times about a potential return, Karen said, "It's always nice when people appreciate anything you've done. But no, it's cool to see that people are still intrigued by Amy Pond and whether she could return. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know." But actors lie, don't they? Well, it's their job after all. While Karen isn't scheduled to appear alongside returning cast David Tennant and Catherine Tate in the anniversary show later this year, the Scots star doesn't seem opposed to the idea. What do you mean isn't scheduled? You don't know, do you? They could be keeping it a secret. Anyway, Scots Rwandan actor Ncuti Gatwa has been confirmed as the new Doctor and was spotted filming the show in Bristol. Speaking about Ncuti's casting, Karen gushed over the sex education star and praised his acting ability. "My first reaction to both of them being cast was excitement." Both of them? Is it two people? Does she mean David Tennant? I don't know. Doesn't say. She said, I sort of feel like they're going to inject a whole new lease of life, like it really got my attention when I saw both of them. I'm presuming she's meaning David Tennant. I was like, okay, I'm ready to jump into this now. She added, and it's just exciting and it's new and he's clearly brilliant because I've seen him in other things, so I think it's a really good piece of casting. And that's it. That's it. So she's not saying, but they never do they? So they always say response to speculation. They always say, well, I don't know, maybe. Or, well, they've not been in touch, when they clearly have, 9 times out of 10. But anyway, I think she'll appear in it. I do. I think she will be. I think she'll be in it. Maybe not for long, but I think she'll have some sort of appearance in it. I bet she does. I bet she does. Maybe. I don't know. Right, list. A list. 10 most intense space battles in sci-fi movies. We go through our choices for the 10 most epic space battles in cinema, and that's obviously from Star Trek First Contact, the Battle of Sector 001. A cool scene. Doesn't go on long enough, though, but it is amazing. Among some of the less cerebral but nonetheless amazingly fun science fiction has given us are some amazing space battles. I keep biting my lip when I'm talking. As visual effects technology has advanced, it's created the opportunity for more glorious and intense wars fought in the void of space. Here are our picks for the 10 best of them. But don't forget, the best, in my opinion, the best space battle, until Rogue One, the Battle of Scarif, but the best space battle was the one in Return of the Jedi, and that wasn't, there's no CG in that at all. It were all individual elements. One shot had 63 different elements all superimposed over each other. Anyway. Number 10, Protector versus the Cragged Vort. Is that the name of his ship? Cyrus. Galaxy Quest, 1999. And there it is. I've got the Protector up there. NSEA Protector. Can you see it? Hang on, let me get the camera. Can you see it up there? Hang on, where are we? You see my room now. It's up there anyway. I don't know if you can see it or not. Hey, where are we? There we go. Hang on, that way. Oh, whatever. Anyway, part of what makes the 1999 Star Trek parody Galaxy Quest such a perfect movie is that since it's primarily comedy, the production could have gotten lazy about the space battles, but they didn't. The conflict between the sleek NSEA Protector and the comparatively gargantuan Gragvort, commanded by Saris Robin Sachs, is just as suspenseful and explosive as the best Trek spaceship fights. Yeah, but there were too many missiles, not enough laser beams flying about. For my taste, but it was still cool and ace. I love Galaxy Quest. And if we're being honest, better than many of them. After the end of their first encounter, when the Protector is nearly destroyed by the dozens of magnetic mines it drags with it, we get a guys on the bridge being thrown around moment, better executed than in pretty much any official Trek flick. Whatever. Number 9, the Narada versus the Kelvin, Star Trek 2009. I wouldn't have included this. I suppose it looked good, but it started 2009, isn't it? Which wasn't very good. The fight between the Narada and the Kelvin, pardon me, the USS Kelvin, which is why it's called the Kelvin timeline. J.J. Abrams always has references to things called Kelvin in his movies. I think is it a reference to his dad or his granddad? I can't remember. In Force Awakens, had the "Don't go beyond the Kelvin ridge" and stuff like that. You know, Kelvin's always mentioned in some way. Start again. The fight between the Narada and the Kelvin in 2009 Star Trek is one of the few space battles on this list in which the good guys didn't emerge victorious, and it's also the only fight in this list that leads to the creation of an entire alternate reality. Trek's Kelvin timeline is named for this battle, in which the vengeful Romulan Nero, Eric Banner, changes the course of history by destroying the Kelvin, and George Kirk, Chris Hemsworth, sacrificing himself moments after his son is born. Obviously James Tiberius Kirk, with visual effects that easily outstrip those of the earlier movies. Shut up. Star Trek delivers an unforgettable space fight right out of the gate. Yeah, well, again, too many missiles. But yeah, it were all right. But as I said, I didn't like the phasers. Too many pew pews, not enough beams, not any beams, and missiles and stuff. Didn't like it, to be honest. But anyway, the Guardians versus the Sovereign, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This were a bit overkill, to be honest. Yeah, it were cool, but a bit too much going on for my taste. You can overdo it. Ironically, in spite of that, Guardians being MCU's first space-based heroes, they don't actually have a lot of fights in space. The big aerial battle in the first film, for example, takes place in the skies over Xandar, but not technically in space itself. That changes within... I mean, J.J. Abrams hates doing things in space, it seems. In Star Wars, anyway. Everything happens in an atmosphere, practically. Anyway. That changes within the first 20 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when the remotely controlled Sovereign fleet arrives to get payback for the Anulax batteries rocket stole from under their gold noses. The Guardians manage to escape the fleet at first, but the battle continues in the core of Ego's planet at the end of the film. I think I've only seen the second one, Volume 2, once. I'm going to have to watch it again. I think I have. I've seen the first one loads of times. It's an amazing film. Anyway. The Battle of Station 2E, Serenity. Would this be classed as a space battle? I've just gone on about this one happening in the first one being in the atmosphere. Well, the same one happens for the Battle of Station 2E. That happens in an atmosphere. Anyway, while they were set in space and followed the exploits of heroes in a spaceship, Firefly wasn't known for epic space battles, but when the film Serenity continued the story, the heroes managed to not only start a massive fight in space, but they do it all to create a diversion. Are they talking about... I don't know. Are they talking about when they destroy that Reaver ship and they get them to chase them? Is it that? I don't know. Malcolm Reynolds has to navigate through a field of wild homicidal villains known as Reavers to get where he's going, but where he's going is guarded by an equally hostile Alliance fleet. So the captain starts a fight with the Reavers, runs like hell, and leads them right into the Alliance ships. Serenity and her crew just barely make it to the planet, which is never named in the film, but is called Station 2E in extra source material, while fleeing the fight they started, but not without paying a heavy toll. Yeah, but most of the battle actually happens in the atmosphere, doesn't it? Because they emerge, don't they? Is it? I don't know if it's the atmosphere of the planet or if it's like an energy field or something that's atmosphere-like. But Joss Whedon did it so that you could hear. Serenity's famous for its space-based things. You couldn't hear anything because really in space you can't hear anything. The only noises you could hear were like on the inside of ships and like faint thudding and stuff like that. But he wanted, obviously, on the big screen, he wanted the space battle to be epic and noisy and stuff, so he did it in the atmosphere of this Station 2E thing. So technically it wasn't in space, most of it. They arrived from space, but most of the battle happens down in the atmosphere. But anyway, the Battle of Naboo, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 1999. There he is. So how about spinning? That's a good idea, or a good trick. Like many of the best space battles in Star Wars, the fight at the end of The Phantom Menace is fought on multiple fronts. And one of the most pivotal is the biggest of the film's space battles against the Trade Federation's droid control ship. While it starts off with the heroes looking like victory is far out of reach, the arrival of the young Anakin, Jake Lloyd, changes everything. Anakin's destruction of the droid control ship deactivates the battle droids on the surface, making things a lot easier for both the Gungans and the Strike Force led by Padme, Natalie Portman. It also gives us a clear picture of how strong Anakin's connection to the Force is, considering that he not only doesn't even mean to join the space battle, but his bypassing of the ship's shields and destruction of the enemy vessel is all unintentional. I like Phantom Menace, but, it is a bit goofy, isn't it? I mean, what sort of ship has its main energy core like in the same sort of room as its landing bays and stuff? Doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Anyway, Battle of Sector 001, Star Trek First Contact, 1996. This were cool. But as I said, it didn't go on long enough, but that's what we want. Phasers, phaser beams. When the Star Trek The Next Generation 2 part of The Best of Both Worlds aired, some fans no doubt felt cheated because what was one of the most amazing space battles, the Battle of Wolf 359, occurs during the events of the episode but takes place completely off-screen. A whopping 39 Starfleet ships clash with the Borg cube at Wolf 359 and lose. And until flashbacks show a tiny sliver of the conflict in the premiere episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where you see the destruction of the USS Canberra, we only see the aftermath. But when fans, which was the ship that were offered to William Riker to command, and he turned it down, thankfully. We only see the aftermath, but when fans went to see 1996's Star Trek First Contact, they got to see a similar battle in its full glory. And they didn't have to wait long. We arrive at the absolutely massive Battle of Sector 001, i.e. Earth's solar system, less than 10 minutes into First Contact, and while we never get a firm number of the total Starfleet ships lost, it's in the neighbourhood of 20. I don't know, but it did make a lot of sense when you think that this is another bugbear of mine with science fiction films, and Star Trek in particular, a lot of the time. The Enterprise was way over at the Romulan border, which I don't know how far. We'll say 1,000 light years, shall we? I don't know. It could be less, could be more. But it's a long way away from Earth, I think, the Romulan border. And the Enterprise gets there. Well, how long was the battle raging before the Enterprise got there? It'd take months probably to get there. At maximum warp, but they get there in no time at all. And also, if you watch it, there's the Millennium Falcon in the background. Not in this shot, I don't think. No, that's not it. But in one of the shots, the Millennium Falcon is in the background. A teeny tiny one. Anyway. The Battle of Coruscant, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, 2005. This were cool. And it actually had a kitchen sink in it. It did. See if it mentions it here. None of the space battles of Star Wars enjoy a scope more epic than what we see in the Battle of Coruscant in the opening scene of Revenge of the Sith, and considering the franchise, that's saying a lot. The fight between the Galactic Republic fleet and the Separatists led by General Grievous is utterly colossal, with just about every exterior shot filled with fights raging up front and in the distance. Just as the Battle of Naboo does in The Phantom Menace, the Battle of Coruscant also takes the opportunity to reveal some important details about Anakin, namely how his relationship with Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, has grown since Attack of the Clones, and he still likes spinning. But yeah, one of the ships, it could be just after this shot actually, but one of the ships fires something at another ship, and if you look at it, it's actually a kitchen sink being thrown at it. Because, it had everything, including the kitchen sink. Yeah, it's a cool scene. Number 3, Battle of the Mutara Nebula, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, 1982. And there's the Enterprise. That doesn't actually happen in the film. Not a beam phaser like that anyway, because in Star Trek II they have phasers, not big beam ones like that, but never mind. Of all the space battles portrayed in Star Trek, none are as tense or suspenseful as the final confrontation between the Enterprise and the Khan-led Reliant in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Or Wrath. Anyway, with both vessels effectively blinded after entering the Mutara Nebula, their clash often feels more like something like a submarine story, like The Hunt for Red October or Das Boot, than a Star Trek film. It's since been copied multiple times in the franchise, including in Star Trek The Next Generation, The Best of Both Worlds, and also, obviously, Star Trek Picard, Season 3. They did it, didn't they, early on in the season. They went into a nebula, didn't they, chased by the Shrike. That was very Star Trek 2-y. But yeah, it's an amazing film. It's one of the greatest films ever made, Star Trek 2, but I just wish they did have those instead of the pew-pews. I love me beam phasers. Right, number 2, Battle of Scarif. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story 2016. My favourite Star Wars film. Fight me. When it comes to the final battle of Rogue One, we tend to think first of either of the heroes on the surface or Darth Vader's epic hallway scene. Too often forgotten is one of the most incredible space battles in the franchise, with the rebels' desperate fight to destroy the Imperial Shield Gate, which is a bit stupid, isn't it? Shield, it's space balls, isn't it? Why was the whole planet surrounded by a shield? Why not just have it, a shield, like a dome of a shield over part of the, the area where the vault was? Anyway, never mind. It isn't a much higher percentage of heroes in the space above Scarif that survive than those fighting on the ground, but like the folks down below, they get the job done. Yeah, it's cool, it's amazing. Especially this bit where the X-Wings and that are heading for the shield gate before it closes, because the order's given, close the gate, and they're all flying down and flying through, and then suddenly it goes, and then a couple of them hit the gate and blow up, and it's cool. Best Star Wars film. Number 1, Battle of Endor. That's it. And until this was the best space battle. And this is the shot, actually, that I ran about with. I think it was 68 individual elements. I think it was 68, 63 individual elements in one shot. All done, not digitally. Not CG, you know what I mean. I don't think, no, all done optically. Because they had optical printers, isn't it? I don't think they had digital printers yet, did they? Did they? 1983? I can't remember. But all done optically, anyway. That's the famous mistake, wasn't there? As the Falcon flies over the camera, you saw 2 little TIE fighters that should have been behind, but they were actually in front of, and that was a little mistake. It were erased in the special editions and onwards. But until then, you could see them. Anyway, Return of the Jedi has taken a lot of flack over the years, but if the increasingly divisive Star Wars fan base can agree on nothing else, they should at least acknowledge that Jedi gave us perhaps the greatest of all the space battles in the film series. The Rebel fleet's one desperate shot to take out the second Death Star is a suspenseful visual feast that proves even more exciting than the Battle of Yavin. It's a trap! Cool bit. Originally it was supposed to say it's a trick, and they changed it in in dubbing. ADR, the ADR didn't. It's a trap because they thought it's a trick sounded goofy. George for you, isn't it? And originally, thanks to the guys at Echo Base Network telling me this, not in one of their videos, not personally, but apparently it was Richard Marquand's idea for Luke to go back to Yoda. To verify that Darth Vader was his father. George Lucas wasn't going to have that in it. Yoda wasn't even going to be in it, apparently. So it was Richard Marquand's idea. He stuck to his guns. And that's what George Lucas needed, particularly in the prequel trilogy. He needed somebody. There were too many yes men, weren't there, in the prequel trilogy? And he needed somebody to keep him on his toes and tell him, what to do and what not to do. What were a good idea and what wasn't a bad idea. I didn't have enough of that. Anyway, the space chapter of the Battle of Endor also plays a big part in broadening the scope of the conflict, but not in terms of the number of ships or the amount of space, but the people involved. The final battle of Return of the Jedi is fought on 3 fronts: in space, on Endor, and in the Emperor's throne room. And the part fought in space is the only one in which none of the lead cast from the 2 previous films are present. It helps us to remember that the battle between the Empire and the Rebellion encompasses more than the few heroes we've come to know, which is probably why I like Rogue One so much. It's not all about the Skywalkers, even though one's in it at the end, Darth Vader. But it's not all about the Skywalkers. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And the old "Here Goes Nothing." I still don't know how they do that shot. Well, it must be, but it just looks ace as they fly into the Death Star. How big was that model? And how small was the camera? I don't know how they did it. As it showed, the Falcon goes up and then down and round and then into the Death Star. And it seems to go on for probably only like a couple of seconds, but it just seems like a long time. And it's a cool shot. It's a cool shot. Why don't they just shoot through this bit here where there's all this space there? Why don't they just go in that bit there? I don't know. But it's this fully armed and operational Death Star. Fire at will, Commander. The poor little fellas with their going like that when the beam goes past them. Don't have a handrail or anything to hold them. Anyway, I think that's it. That was the last one, wasn't it? Yes, it was. And that was number 1, the Battle of Endor. I'd have swapped those two round myself. Because I think the Battle of Scarif is slightly better than the Battle of Endor. But Endor does have, sentimental value, and I think as an achievement in technical filmmaking, it should be number 1. Because remember, it was done before CG. This were all CG. This were all models and everything, all done optically. Whereas this is all CG. But it's still cool and it still looks great. And we had Blue Squadron. Found out why there were no Blue Squadron. We found out what happened to Red 4, didn't we? Red 5, sorry. Found out what happened to Red 5. Why an opening had happened for when Luke came along. Probably a few days later. Right, anyway, so we'll leave it there. I said it's a short one, but I've still been going on nearly an hour. That's lists for you. Right, so don't forget, Carrie Fisher, tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. UK time, if you want to watch her dedication on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm sure it'll be very emotional. Right, we'll leave it there. Let's get out of that. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.